Hey guys, how is everybody doing today? Um, let's see what we got here. Whew. Hey, hey, hey. Hey guys, I don't have long, but we're going to get started in just a few seconds. Today is Tuesday and it's around 2, so I wanted to hop on and say a couple of things right quick, and then we can go back to our Valentine's Day. Happy Love Day for all of you who celebrate it, and those of you who don't, enjoy your day anyway. It's a nice Sunday in New York City. For those of you who are in New York, um, make sure you take this time to invite your friends, your followers, share this. Let everybody know that you're on today at 2 o'clock with me, Leadership Coach Ramsay, and we're going to be talking about love and leadership just for a few moments. Hey, happy Valentine's Day to you too. Thank you for joining me today. Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. We're about to get started. Um, it's a little bit after 2 o'clock and it's bright and sunny. Hey, Danielle. Thank you for joining me again today. So great to see you guys logging in to this Facebook Live. Make sure you invite somebody, share this, subscribe, and of course, when you subscribe, it'll let you know when I go on live, which I don't do often. Happy Valentine's Day, Jasmine. Um, so we're going to talk a little bit about this, and um, it's going to be interesting. And I want to hear your thoughts and your comments as we go along. Hey, Lawrence, welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so let's start. Um, hey guys, for those of you who do not know me, you may be watching this in replay or you're watching now. My name is Chanel Ramsay and I'm a leadership coach. I'm here as an extension of CEO and founder of Power Up Urban Leadership Network. And what I like to do every Tuesday, for those of you who are on here, I hope you can hear me well. What I like to do every Tuesday around 2 o'clock or so is I like to just log on and share with you some leadership points that principles that I've learned along the way. One thing I always tell people is that I don't consider myself a leadership expert. However, there are some things that I've learned along the way that has helped me on my journey that I'd like to take the time to share those points with people. And hopefully it can help you avoid some mistakes in your leadership journey. One thing I always tell people, and that is that leadership is a journey. It's something that should be done together with a group of people, not alone, right? Because we can learn from each other. There's certain things that I go through that you don't have to go through. In fact, if you learn the lesson from someone else's mistake, you can avoid it altogether. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about my leadership journey and my love journey, and how it intertwined and how they affected each other, because I believe that especially when you're with leadership, there's always this kind of thin line between private and public. You know, there's a line between private and public, and sometimes that line gets grayed out, and sometimes a lot of people shy away from leadership because they feel like they have to lose their private life, and that they lose a certain level of freedom and all of that. Um, and so I want to explore that today because I think it's important for us to think about the price of leadership when it comes to our love relationships, right? So love and leadership, how does it intertwine? How do they impact each other? And then what are some of the things that I learned along the way, especially for those of you who are single? I was reading some of the posts that people had up for Valentine's Day on Facebook, and I was cracking up. It is hilarious. One of them said uh, to open your heart, not your legs. I was like, what? So thank you for, that post, whoever it was. I can't remember who put it up, but it was very interesting to see people's perspective of this day and what they think happens and what they have experienced and what the expectations for the day is. Um, and you just got to be careful. You have to be careful, especially when you're in leadership and then we start talking about dating relationships. So let's start there. I don't even know what dating is, what dating looks like now, especially for believers. I mean, it has changed. I think I've never, yes, happy Single Awareness Day. Yes, I totally agree with that terminology because when I was single, that was definitely Valentine's Day was the Single Awareness Day. First of all, Valentine's Day, the fall, when the seasons change, and Christmas. Those were all Single Awareness days for me. It was like as soon as the weather changed, everybody started coming out holding hands. I'm like, what the heck? What's going on? Where did y'all come from? Y'all was dating the whole time. Nobody knew. Now all of a sudden it's out. So it's very, very interesting. Okay, very, very interesting. But dating for people in leadership, what does it look like? What are some of the things we should and should not do? I've never been a fan of the terminology of dating, right? Because to me, I always thought of dating like shoe shopping, right? You go into a shoe store. It's because I'm a woman, of course. We're going to go into a shoe store. We just start picking out shoes, trying them on, and say, oh, yeah, I like these, maybe those. Okay, let me try this on and see how it fits. Let me try this on and see how it fit. And it really, when I started thinking about dating, I was like, man, I don't want somebody to try me on to see how it fits. Like, that's kind of weird. It's like, oh, I don't really like this fit, so I'm going to get rid of you and go try something else. So I never really liked the term dating and never really embraced it um, as a single believer or as just someone who was in leadership. I kind of lean towards the model of courtship than actually dating. But that's just my opinion. And this FYI, this whole Facebook Live is going to be filled with a lot of opinion. Okay, so don't take me to the bank on it. This is just my experience and my journey. I'm not saying this is doctrine, but I'm just letting you know what I've experienced. So I've never been a fan of that terminology, dating, and then now it's like online dating. Then you meet people on Instagram, Facebook, and it's changing. It's evolving. It's like the friendship part is being skipped, and you just kind of go into this dating relationship thing, which is really interesting. It might work for some people, it's just different. It's different. It's something to explore, and you got to know what works for you. But I do want to talk about how that might impact your leadership. I know sometimes we get into relationships and we're so excited and we're like, yes, I'm dating such and such, or you're in a relationship and so you want to change your relationship status and you want to put, from single to it's complicated or whatever the new status is. And we put that up there and then we post in pictures of us with our boo and all that kind of stuff. And it's fun. It feels great. It feels great. But how does that affect our leadership? What's the message that we're projecting to people? And should we even care that that's the message that we're projecting to people? One thing I remember my mentor telling me, she said to me when I was dating, who is now my husband, during the time, and there was a picture up there, and there wasn't anything wrong with the picture per se, but she said to me, she said, don't give people a stick to beat you with. And I had to pause and really think about that terminology, and I had to realize that part of being in leadership is a greater level of responsibility to how you lead people. Case in point, let's look at Donald Trump. I was looking at videos. They had all of these clips where they were showing how he treated his wife. And it was in the subtle things, like how he wouldn't hold her hand, or how he held her hand like he would a stranger, or how he didn't open the door for her, or put her before him. All of those different things, we start now to equate his personal relationship with his wife to how he is as a person, and then how he is as a leader. And so again, when you take on the role of leadership, then you're automatically saying, hey, I want to be an example. I want to be someone that people look up to. I want to be, you know, the example or the model. And so it's very important that if you're saying, hey, I want to be in leadership, that you use what I like to call discretion, okay? Not secretive. There's a difference between being secretive and everything is secret, and you know, your whole life is private. Don't nobody know if you live in a house, a car, but people don't know where you, nothing about you. You're just secretive. Everything is a secret. And then, you know, you ever have those people that are super private and you can't tell, you can't get a read on them because nobody knows nothing about them. It's like Tommy or Martin. It's like, you ain't got no job. It's just so, so secretive. We're not talking about secretive. We're talking about discretion, okay? And so again, there's a difference between being super secretive and then having discretion. And the reason why I'm talking about that parallel between being secretive and using discretion is because I want to also interject this word called accountability. Yeah, accountability. And one thing that I've learned, especially in a dating relationship, is you need accountability. You need accountability, especially if you're in leadership. Why? Because the enemy will want to pull you down so that he can make an example of you to other people. He wants to tarnish your name. He wants to make a fool out of you. And so again, we don't give him any room. So one of the ways to prevent us from giving him any room is having accountability, especially when you're in a dating relationship. Now, this is one thing that I strongly believe, especially once you get past dating and you're moving into courtship, you're engaged. That is definitely where you have to realize that your job is not to involve everyone into your relationship. So you have to choose who you want to be accountable to, right? You have to choose that person who you want to be accountable to. But discretion is always necessary. Even if you're not dating, you should have discretion. Everything doesn't belong on Facebook. Everything does not belong on Instagram. Every photo should not be posted. There's a level of discretion or good sound judgment that you have to make, especially when you're in leadership. And let me not even talk about it if you're in youth leadership, right? Because youth leadership is a whole nother level of discretion. Why? Because kids are more impressionable than adults are. And so you have to be careful that you are modeling before them the example you want to see them live. And let me tell you something. You can do everything right and kids will see it and tell it wrong. So you have to take especially good care of nurturing the proper relationships and how you display that before them. You know, it's like, you're dating someone and this week you with this one, then next week you with somebody else. And so they just keep seeing you with all of these different mates, all of these different people that you're dating. So you got one relationship, you in another, and you just telling the world about it. Each and every time you change up and somebody new, it didn't work out. Again, what kind of example is that you're setting as a leader? For both male and female. Again, back to that word called discretion. If you ain't got no ring on your finger, there is absolutely no reason why everything you do with that individual needs to be shared with the world. Because again, what example are you setting if that relationship doesn't work out? If you go through all of that and then you're with somebody new, kids need explanation. You think you just gonna go with somebody new and they not gonna ask? They are going to ask. They're going to be all up in your business, all up in your Kool-Aid, okay? They want to know all about what's going on with you because, again, they're impressionable. They're watching your example. And then you have some people in your lives that are fault finders. They wait to find something about you to accuse you of, the accuser of the brethren. And so, again, don't give people a stick to beat you. It kind of comes into that whole thing. Paul said it like this in Corinthians. He says, commending yourselves to every man's conscience in the fear or the sight of God. And so again, when you start thinking about that, When someone is conscious of you, what's in their consciousness? What business have you put into their mind that you want them to now mind their business? What have you put out there? What example are you putting forth? Because it's important. And so you have to be careful. If anybody, the enemy wants to attack and pull down, your name is everything. Your name is everything. Proverbs says a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Your name is everything. And so again, you don't want to keep attaching your name to, oh, you're a serial dater. Like you go from one person to another and everybody knows everything. You have to be careful, especially once you start moving. If you're seriously involved in courtship with the person and you guys are moving towards marriage, then it just needs to be you, that person, whoever you're accountable to, and God. If you keep God in the midst, He'll keep the situation together. Because once you begin to date, right? I say this all the time to especially women. When you're in a relationship with a person, when you get married, they give you a marriage license. So when you're dating, you don't have a license, you have a permit. Dating is all about the permit. And you know how it is when you get a driver's permit. There are certain restrictions that come with that permit. There are certain things that you can do and certain things that you can't do. And when you're in a dating relationship, it's like that permit phase. What happens in that dating relationship is all about what you permit. Do you permit him to call you late at night? Do you permit him to spend the night over your house, or you're spending the night over his house? What are you permitting? What are you allowing to happen in that relationship, in that dating zone, in that dating period? Because what? You don't have a license yet. So you can't just do whatever you want to do because you don't have your license. So again, that's what it is when you start thinking about dating. You have to take it slow. The Bible says to walk in love, not fall in love, not run in love, not be abused by love, but walk. Why walk? Because walking requires steps. It doesn't require for you to take leaps. It requires steps. And so when you're in a relationship with someone, take it slow. Take the proper steps. And that's why we talk about accountability. Accountability. We don't like that word because accountability has been used in so many wrong ways over the years. I mean, people have used it to beat people over the head, to be power crazy with it. But you have to have accountability. Why? Because leaders need to be led too. We're not above reproach. We're not above falling. The Bible says if you think yourself to stand, take heed lest you fall. Like you're not above falling into sin. You're not above that. And one thing about sin and about compromise is that it will steal your voice and your power. So anytime you compromise your standard, you lower your standard, you sin, you do something that you know you're not supposed to do in the dating phase of that relationship, if you're honest with yourself, that condemnation sets in, and then it doesn't allow you to address it when you see it happening to the people you're serving. When you see it happening to your young people and you want to be like, okay, don't do that, be careful of that, all that kind of stuff. But because of that compromise, you don't feel like, oh, I'm not doing right. How can I tell them not to do that? Again, all that plays in, and so that's where the enemy wants to get you. But back to accountability, because accountability takes honesty and it takes vulnerability. It takes honesty and vulnerability, but it can save your life. And so you have to get accountability. You got to get accountability. You have to find somebody that you trust and someone that will hold you accountable to your highest potential. You have to find somebody that you can trust and that can hold you accountable to your highest potential. Not the one who's trying to make you into them. That's not the person you want to be accountable to. You want to be accountable to someone who accepts you for who you are. They accept you for who you are, because during that dating phase, you want to have check-ins, right? You want to have check-ins. I remember, my youth pastor used to be one person that would always check in on me in my dating relationship, and then I had another youth leader that would check in on me during my dating relationship. And one of the biggest lies I told myself was, I'm okay and I can handle this. That was one of the biggest lies I told myself during that dating time. I should have been crying out for help because I was drowning. Okay, I was falling to pieces. I was losing it. I was thinking with my heart and not my head. And I was making decisions that was without discretion. I was making decisions that was leading me down a path I was not ready to go. I was not ready to go down a path. And what was happening is I'm going down a path that ultimately sabotaged my role in leadership because I lost the respect of the people who I was called to serve because I did not use discretion and I was not accountable. So you have to be careful that you don't tell yourself that lie, okay, I got this, I can handle this. All those secrets, all those long conversations. I heard someone once say it like this, you talk long, you talk wrong, you know. You have to use discretion. You got to have boundaries. You have to say, okay, this is my cutoff point. This is when I know I need to hold up a red flag because I'm in danger. I'm in danger. I need to go find some help as my flesh is leading me the wrong way. I'm making bad decisions. You got to know you. You got to know you. And that's why even before you start to date someone and love someone new, you got to love you and love yourself and understand what that journey of love is all about on the inside before you even engage in a dating relationship. Because again, your discretion or your lack thereof will impact your leadership because people are watching. And that comes with the territory. People are watching. But you don't have to rely on your own strength to keep you. You rely on the grace of God to keep you through that process. And so there's a balance to all of this. There's a balance to all of this that we're talking about because in the process of you on your journey of love and in your journey of leadership, God has something in someone special just for you. I remember being in leadership for years and what I would do, Valentine's Day, feeling lonely, I'm single, they're doing all of this lovey-dovey stuff at the church for people that are married and all this kind of stuff. All I had was my sisters or my friends and, we trying to console each other through the process, trying to make it okay for Valentine's Day and all that kind of good stuff. But at the end of the day, I had to be open to love. I had to be open to it. And being open to love did not necessarily mean that I had to be in everybody's face. I had to be in everybody's face, going on dates, doing all of that kind of stuff. But no, I had to be open to, number one, God loving me through another person the way that I needed to be loved. And so being open to love led me to being in the right place at the right time, meeting my husband. And so being open to love also meant that I needed to get balance in my life concerning my leadership role. I couldn't say yes to everything anymore. Sometimes we use our role in serving and our role in leadership to distract us from our singleness. I'm going to let that sit there for a little bit. Because we get so busy so we don't have to realize how alone we feel. And so all of that's denial, and it's unhealthy and it's unrealistic because at the end of the day, you're going to push yourself to a place where you don't want to be. And so me being open to love meant I had to free up some time I could actually meet somebody. Some of us do so much work, we're working ourselves to death trying to avoid the reality of our singleness. For what? Your singleness right now is a gift. You use it. You maximize it. You work it. But you don't let it work you over to the point where you are burnt out because you done gave all your energy to ministry. You done gave all of yourself to somebody else's work or to the work that you feel you're called to. You done poured out all of that into all of these great things we do. Yes, we're superheroes, saving the world. Yeah, I got it. But then what happened to you? What happened to you? How are you loving you in that process? Because it doesn't sound like love from here. Okay? You have to work your singleness space, right? You have an assignment. You put yourself into it. Of course, you give to it. I said, but you don't create unhealthy habits where you're not balanced. It's like some of y'all want to be married, but you see the same church guys every week. You don't have a social circle. You don't have a support system outside of the group that you always see. You don't do anything new. You don't travel. You're not open to love. You're open to work. There's some things that you need to begin to put in place, because also when you get in a relationship, those are also bad habits that you take with you. I remember my first year being married. It was like I had to detox from ministry, church work, and realize that my marriage was a ministry too. But then this is what the Lord told me. He says, don't give your husband leftovers. He told me that don't give your husband leftovers. You know what your leftovers are? You give all your great energy and strength to the church, and then you come home and then you're too tired to do nothing because you done gave it all away. So you give him whatever's left, because that was a pattern that I created in my singleness, and it wasn't fair to my marriage. So you want to start getting ready for love. You want to be open to love. You want to start preparing for marriage. Look at your schedule. Look at your schedule. What do you have in place? What are you saying yes to that really has nothing to do with where you're trying to go? So that's another story. But I just wanted to leave that with you guys. Accountability and discretion. Here's what it says about discretion. And I love this. In Proverbs 2:11, it says, discretion will protect you and understanding will guard you. Discretion will protect you and understanding will guard you. So I want you to take that into account today. These are just some things I want you to think about, because love and leadership is connected, honey. They affect one another. If you heartbroken, you done dated somebody and gave your heart to them, and give you no ring, but you done gave your heart. You done turned everything over. You done started being wifey, and you're not married yet. You playing the role. You stepped out of what was permitted during the dating period, and you trying to move into what you need to do when you have a license, and you don't have that marriage license yet. Remember, your body is designed to go in a certain direction. It's naturally designed to go that course. So when you start thinking with your heart and not your head, and you allow your emotions to dictate your behavior, then you've already put yourself in a space where it's danger. You need a red flag. You need to wave that red flag. You need to find somebody to be accountable to. Wave that red flag and say, help, I'm drowning. I'm drowning here. Here I am sinking into what I'm feeling, and I need help to balance it all out again, to get the right perspective, to slow things down. Because you know what? Once you put the key in the ignition, ain't nowhere to go but forward. You ready to drive, and you're not ready to drive until you get that license. Till you get that license. So that's just what I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it there. He said, walk in love, not run, not fall, but walk in love. And God's going to do it for you. But keep that before you, accountability and discretion. Accountability and discretion, because love and leadership, it works hand in hand. Be blessed. I love you guys. All right. So that's just what I wanted to say. I'm just going to stop right there, because I believe y'all got the point. Things can get hot, it can get heavy, and it can get crazy. So you got to be careful. You got to watch it. You got to monitor your heart. You got to be accountable to people so they can help you, check those things that get out of line sometime. But enjoy the love journey. Enjoy the love journey, because it's important that you just not only love others, but you love yourself, and you experience love the way God has intended for you to experience it. So what I want you guys to do, so excited, in the month of March or April, we're going to be doing something exclusively for youth leaders. That's coming up. But if you enjoyed this broadcast we shared today, why don't you give me some hearts and thumbs up and let me know you got something out of it. I believe that it was edifying to you as we look at love and relationships, especially as singles, and that whole transition, because it's a transition. It's definitely a journey. But let me know you got something out of it. We're going to be doing something exclusive. Leaders, youth pastors. It's an empowerment piece that God has given me. As I came into this year, I've been realizing that I've been doing youth ministry since I was 14 years old. I've been serving in youth ministry since I was 14, and I told the Lord, I'm ready to retire now from youth ministry. Okay, so what we're going to do, but coming into this year, He released a new charge for youth leaders and youth ministries, and so I want to connect with you all, and I want to make sure that youth leaders are empowered, because it's not getting easier, but you are necessary. Youth leadership, youth ministries, you are necessary. And so I want to make sure that I empower you. So we're going to be doing something exclusively for youth leaders. And then later on in the year, we're going to be celebrating youth leaders in a very special way. And it's going to be good. I just want to pour back into you all and just give you whatever I can, 20 years of experience, whatever I can pour, I want to pour. And so if you're on here today, I want you to hashtag youth ministry. If you have a youth ministry at your church or if you're in youth ministry, hashtag youth ministry. And we're going to reach out to you and make sure you get the information about the upcoming events. And then also we're doing a Reset Your Team for 2017 workshop, on-site workshop. We're offering to churches and organizations. It's only for the month of January, February, and March. So make sure you solidify your spot. You can email us at info@powerupnetwork.org. Or you can reach out to me on Facebook. Y'all know where I'm at. You got my number. Hit me up. Let me know that you're interested. And we'll come to your church and help you reset your team for 2017. Why? Because you got to put a team around the team. This is not the year where you're going to get it done by yourself. This is the year that's going to take a collective effort to get a collective win. And so I want to make sure your teams are healthy and they are functioning the way that they should in order for you to get the best results, to optimize your peak performance in ministry. Because this it's a challenge and it's a charge to make sure that we're operating at our most effective level. You go to a Fortune 500 company and they're like doing stuff that's off the charts, innovation, so much energy. They're doing great things. But it's time for us to be leading the way as well. And we need to be on the cutting edge of what is happening. And so I want to help you to reset your team for 2017. If you need more information, you can hit me up and we'll talk. And we'll make that happen for your team. All right. It's lunchtime. So I'm going to get something to eat. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've just shared my story. There's more than I want to say, and I probably might say it a little bit later, but this is a great day for love, that the world acknowledges, but we experience God's love every single day, from the smallest things. God is showing us his love, and so just receive that love today. Be whole, be happy, and move forward because great things are ahead of you. All right, guys. I love you guys. Talk to you later.